The New York Islanders are officially eliminated from playoff contention, as this was a very strange year for the Islanders. In some ways, they exceeded expectations, and in some ways, it was very disappointing the way the season ended. But one thing's for sure, they will not be in the playoffs, and let's take a look at why. New York Islanders spent most of the year in playoff positioning, and yet they fell short, as even at the trade deadline, they made a couple moves to try to shore up their roster, acquiring veterans like Carson Soucy, Palat, and making a big move for Braden Shen, giving up some draft assets for the future, and it wasn't quite enough to get them over the hump. Coming to the year, everyone thought the Islanders would be a rebuilding team. Obviously, they got the first overall pick, Matthew Schaefer, in last year's draft. They also traded Noah Dobson for 2 additional first-round picks, and they had a ton of picks and prospects that have come into this team over the last couple seasons. So they've added a lot of youth to this team, and a lot of people didn't really expect them to be playoff contenders just yet. But it still stings the fact that they were so close to getting into the playoffs and held playoff positioning for so long, and just didn't quite get over the hump. Especially when you trade away a first-round pick and a couple other assets at the trade deadline, it's always disappointing to not make the playoffs. Although that first-round pick is not theirs, it is Colorado's, so it's not as much of a burden. Although the Islanders have a lot of youth on the team, they also have a lot of veterans, especially from their back-to-back conference finals appearances earlier in the decade. They still have some guys on this roster that we don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. You have a player like Anders Lee, their captain, who's a pending UFA, among other players that could be moved in the offseason, and it'll be interesting to see what direction this team goes in. Without a doubt, the main building block of this team will be Matthew Schaefer, as he probably had the best season from an 18-year-old defenseman in NHL history. He was unbelievable, not only just playing defense, playing heavy minutes, but goal scoring and point production. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with for many years to come, and it'll be up to the Islanders organization to build a team around him, and he's a pretty awesome building block to have. So even though the Islanders didn't make the playoffs, that is something to look forward to. He is truly one of a kind. In my opinion, if you had one player to build a team around, he's that guy, because you don't see defensemen like Matthew Schaefer, and he's just fantastic this season. So that is always something to hang your hat on. But they have a lot of other younger players as well that they can build around. So again, it's going to be really interesting to see what the Islanders do in the offseason. Will they stay the course with the youth movement, or will they try to make a big splash and get over the hump to make a push for the playoffs for next season? Now, in my opinion, I think they should stay the course. I tend to believe that the Islanders overachieved this year. This was supposed to be a rebuild, retool kind of year. Just let Matthew Schaefer play and develop. And obviously he was sensational, and they had a great early part of the season, but disappointing, obviously, towards the end. Although it's a bitter end to the Islanders season, it was a fun ride. Islanders were one of the most fun teams to watch, and they do have a lot of young talent going forward. You just have to have faith in management to build a good team around this youth, and it will be really interesting to see what they do in the offseason. But one thing's for sure, Isles will not be in the playoffs this season.